So Margaret Regina's persona, all right, he won in relation to Haitian Bouissa because you didn't report Pauline Thompson, who was mimicking you or something like that. Got excruciating pain through my head as this stuff is being projected through me. I have reported Pauline Thompson to the police in the past. I feel absolutely sick. I'm terrified. Suddenly, the personas of Pauline, Margaret, and Robert, as well as Peter Hawes, as well as Hannah Bouissa, but the former three predominantly are suddenly saying like this, well, and then drivel, and then tell a star about, and then saying nothing's going to work, basically. I don't know for what end in any event. And Nazanin Zaghari has been imprisoned by contrast and now released in the time that I was tortured. This voodoo problem started about 4 months earlier, or well, substantially 4 months earlier, and it's persisting longer, and I found that it's almost worse than what she's gone through. And so I was sort of deflated because I expected that to be significant in terms of when this problem will stop. It has just got worse because originally it wasn't constant, i.e. there would be 3-week intervals when I wasn't affected by it, and then since 2018 when I left my home I had to flee for other reasons, as well as the fact that I was being tortured and afflicted by this voodoo problem. I expected that to stop because I thought it was because I was living there and people didn't like it because others had left but sublet, and I thought that it was trying to oust me by using extraordinary means, and yet it continued and it worsened, and it's absolutely all the time now. And the personas, I have woken up at midnight or shortly after midnight to threats from those 3 personas of Margaret, Pauline, and Robert Perino, as well as being shown the other ones of Hannah Bouissa and Peter Hawes, who is 30 years estranged, and they're featuring in this is sick. It's really sick. It's just totally sick. Anyway, so I'm being told total jobs or something. I cannot do job interviews. Every job interview I get, I'm being tortured beforehand, and then I'm being told that I have to work, otherwise I won't be believed, or I won't be able to survive, or something like this. I see myself as the victim of a worse assault, a worse crime than Nazanin Zaghari. I'm being told I have to work, and I know that prior to this I was told that he, without identifying which male, wanted me unemployed and unwell. So they've got that. But having heard that, being strongly identifying with my career and always being very conscientious, I was bloody minded. Like I wasn't going to let anyone take my work away or make me sick. I thought they meant worried when I was told that. Worried sick. But not anticipating the use of extraordinary means. Yet the personas are telling me to work. I am not getting, it's impossible. I can't even get police statements written. So I first reported in November because I'd had enough during this lockdown of being in possession of all of this criminality, all of the small incidents, small crimes that have been committed against me, but the vast number of them. So I started to report them, and where's that going? And underlying that also is the fact that I've got this, I'm being tortured by this voodoo type problem. I'm being told by Robert Perino to shush. So I reported that to police in November, but only online. I didn't make statements, and where's that going? So, but I haven't been able to get the statements. I mean, I've now got a folder of stuff I've put together, and that's all I've been able to do, because in between I'm being mostly tortured. I'm being told I'm with you by Hannah Bouissa, and so feeding myself, walking the dog, and getting the small amount of work I have got done finished is all I've managed to do. I could not work full time, I could not work reliably because I'm being tortured, and especially before anything important I am being tortured. Any mandatory appearance or any interview I'm being tortured before. In the days before, then I'm being made to listen to that sound at the moment. Every single thing the days before, I might have one day before that's good, and and relatively low torture, low interference, low voodoo, in low amount of pain, and then I'm being made to listen. That sounds being projected onto me from Pauline there, and then Margaret around here. It's horrendous, being told to shush. But this is a pattern that is now repeated for the fight. I mean, it's a vast amount of time, 5.5 years. So before any interview, I will have like 2 days before. I'll have a good day, which is relatively torture free or low intensity, and then the I'm being told I'm with you by Hannah Barissa's persona, and then either on the day itself, as yesterday happened, for the hour beforehand, suddenly I was extremely tortured at high intensity, and then now I'm being told by Pauline Thompson's persona to go to total jobs, and that I will need a job. Yeah, I'm sure I will, except for the fact that I have been tortured, and getting one is totally impractical. The torture has been, I've not been able to do that in 4 months of living in a serviced apartment. So it's really easy compared to a home environment. I get it cleaned for me. I've got a supermarket across the street. It's really low effort compared to do anything I've even if I have lived relatively in towns before, it's very low effort, and I can't even do, that isn't even of much use because the torture has been so debilitating. So I'm being told he's with you. I'm being shown Peter Hall's tapping their nose. So Margaret Medina, before I put this tape on, it said tell a star, and I'm being shown this unknown blonde guy who stalked me with 2 other men in 2011, and they're referring to them as a star to report the initial behaviour, or some words to that effect, she was saying, and it was like they were doing this to you, and so supposing this is me, they were doing this to you. And yes, indeed, this guy had stalked me on a couple occasions in an unfathomable way. It's just sick, really sick. And I had run away on both of those occasions from them, because it's not normal behaviour to not explain yourself, not announce yourself, to present, to do something like follow somebody to work in the morning with 2 other men following them from a doorstep, and not explain what's going on. So I ran away, and I hid in the loo on the toilet, and then on the other time as well, from Paddington back, I did the same, and I was also starting to suffer the physical effect of labyrinthinitis soon afterwards, and then my building was banging as well. But the whole time was just very confusing, and what the hell they were after. Anyway, so Margaret was referring to this and saying, and her persona was saying, get him to report the original behaviour, like they were holding out some kind of carrot. Or target or something like that.